Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be talking about the disappearance of Rita Bán-Gagyi. This video is a bit different. As you can hear, I'm recording it in English as per the request of the family. Rita was born in Székelykeresztül on April 12, 1973. She and her family moved from Romania to Hungary, settling in Szeged. At one point, Rita decided to try her luck abroad too, so she moved around for a bit. Everyone knew Rita as an amazing, good-hearted person. The kind of person you could always count on. If you had a problem and if you needed help, you called Rita. Her two great loves are reading and hiking. She's not an amateur hiker, but definitely not a professional either. We're not talking about someone who would go hiking for days on highly difficult terrain. Our case finds Rita in Austria, but this was not the first place she lived over the years. At the time of her disappearance, 40-year-old Rita lived in the town of Heiligenblut and worked as a confectioner at the Glockenhof Hotel. As a seasonal worker, she spent most of her time at her workplace and also socialized there. She got along with three girls, two of whom were Hungarian. Many people at work will later remember her as withdrawn and quiet, though I'd have to argue that I'm a completely different person at work as well. As you will see, Rita had a good relationship with her family, consisting of her mother and sister. The sister visited her in the first week of August. Sadly, this would be the last time her family members would ever see her. It was September 3rd, 2013. Rita was working on that day. Around 8 o'clock in the canteen, she had a conversation with one of the Hungarian maids and told her that she was going on a hike the next day as she had the day off. Rita asked her if she would tag along, but since the maid was working the next day, she refused. Her shift ended around 9 o'clock, after which Rita went home. Later that day, she called her sister and mother on Skype and they talked for a bit. She told them the same thing. It was her day off the next day, she was planning on going somewhere, unfortunately never mentioning exactly where. September 4th, day of the disappearance. Around 10 a.m., Rita talked with the man who was living in the neighboring room. He worked as a waiter in the hotel and his balcony was right next to Rita's. According to the man, Rita was sitting on the balcony working on her laptop when they started talking. The conversation went as follows. The waiter found a handwritten note in the kitchen. He realized that this was possibly written by Rita. The note said that someone had stolen some pizza from the shared refrigerator. This refrigerator was shared by the workers and for some reason the waiter felt that it was his responsibility to find out who the thief was. According to him, Rita left the hotel around 11:30 wearing a backpack. We know for a fact that Rita was looking for a job all morning. She knew she wanted to work in Austria again and told her sister that while she wanted to go back to the same city, she did not plan on working at the same hotel. We do not know why she would have wanted this. What we know is that the working conditions were not the best. Her bosses would often nitpick on her work and nag her on a daily basis. She tried to arrange job interviews on Skype. One of the kitchen workers said that they would always go eat in the staff dining room around 11:20. And on that day, on the way to the canteen, they met Rita. Rita told this woman that she was going on a hike. Nothing further was exchanged and they parted ways. We know that she left the staff accommodation around 11:11. This, according to the timestamp indicated by the security footage later obtained by the police. The existing video shows Rita leaving the house in a pair of blue, black, white patterned sporty sandals, a jacket that was tied around her waist, and a backpack. Rita's sister thinks this is strange. When she was visiting in August, Rita remarked that she should definitely bring boots with her, as these were the only shoes that were adequate for the rough terrain. One of Rita's friends mentioned to me that it was very rare, but Rita did hike in sandals from time to time. We cannot know for sure whether she would have worn these sandals or not, but it is certain that she always went with proper clothing and always had food and drink with her. September 5th, 2013. At 9:30 in the morning, the receptionist of Hotel Glockenhof called the Heiligenblut police station. The receptionist told the officers that one of the kitchen's confectioners, Rita Bán-Gagyi, did not show up to work that day, a fact which caused concern, as this was very unusual for her. The police rushed to the scene and tried to track Rita's phone. Rita had two telephone numbers, one Hungarian and one Austrian. After tracking these numbers, they found that her phone was located within a radius of 5 kilometers. Rita's phone was on and working up until September 5th. Around 10:45, the phone either died or was turned off. The aforementioned maid told the police that she spoke with Rita on the 3rd and also noted that she planned on inviting Rita to a dinner on the 4th. She called her several times on that day, trying to get in touch. The call was not answered by Rita, but by a female robotic voice, which said something in German. Unfortunately, the Hungarian maid did not understand exactly what the voice said, so it is impossible to know whether it was an answering machine or whether the voice indicated that the phone was switched off. Since no one answered, she left a handwritten note on Rita's bedroom door. When the maid went back to the room around 30 minutes past midnight, the note was still there. The note was there even when the police arrived at the scene. A large search was started. Mountain rescuers, divers, firefighters, police, and volunteers joined in, but nothing was found. This search lasted from the 5th to the 8th of September. A total of 6 additional search efforts were made between September and beginning of October. The last helicopter search took place on December 17th. A document issued by the Austrian Home Office describes the area as follows, and I quote, "It is a high alpine terrain with cliffs, where a full-scale search to find a person is difficult, mostly impossible, due to the rough terrain." There were 3 security cameras around the staff quarters, and the hotel handed over the footage extracted from these to the police. Rita can be seen leaving the staff quarters, presumably looking at her watch, and then setting off towards the mountains. The exact direction is said to be visible from the recordings of the 2nd camera. We do not know what the 3rd camera shows. On February 14, 2014, the security footage was allegedly destroyed. However, around February 21st, 22nd, 2018, ATV, one of the most famous TV channels in Austria, talked about Rita's case in one of their investigative programs called the Reportage. In this episode, they presented the video recording from that day. To this day, no one is willing to hand over the footage to the family. I have tried to contact the show editors without success. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the episode anywhere online. There were no signs of a fight in Rita's room. Most of her personal belongings were still there. A DNA sample was taken from the site. On September 8th, a local nurse called the police and said that she saw Rita near the living quarters at 7:45 on the day of her disappearance. According to the witness, Rita was in a light jacket and was carrying hiking sticks. Although she later said that she was no longer sure about the sticks, she always maintained that it was indeed Rita that she saw that day. Her testimony goes as follows. She was driving her car and saw that Rita was standing on the side of the road. At first, she thought that Rita was waiting on the side of the road to let her car pass. Thinking about it further, she mentions the possibility that Rita might have been waiting for someone. This person did not know Rita personally, but since she lived in the area, she allegedly saw Rita pretty often. End of September 2013. The family went back to Hungary and tried to contact the Hungarian police, but they said that they had no jurisdiction and could not help. In March 2014, the police told the family that Rita had not withdrawn a large sum of money from her Hungarian bank account before she disappeared. In the document in which they say this, they also point out that Rita did not have an Austrian bank account. Shockingly, at the end of March, at the request of the family, the police finally asked her employers, who confirmed that Rita did indeed have an Austrian bank account. This was the bank account she received her salary on. 2014. The Austrian state refuses to hand over Rita's call log because, according to current criminal law, a personal list, such as a call list, can only be handed over if it, and I quote, serves to reveal a criminal act punishable by imprisonment exceeding over 1 year. In 2014, the Supreme Court ruled that the family had the right, through their lawyers, to look into some of the investigation files. The state prosecutor's office has been rejecting every request made to see these documents ever since. 2014, April. Rita was added to the Interpol's website. In the following, I'm going to talk about the efforts of the family to find Rita. On September 18, 2013, Rita's family officially hired a private investigator. The private investigator was recommended by a police officer who already worked with the man in the past. On September 21st, together with a team of investigators, they went from Hungary to Heiligenblut and conducted a several-day investigation. They interrogated the mountain rescuers and Rita's colleagues. They also went to the personal accommodation and, with the help of a dowser, tried to detect Rita's last steps, so to speak. To To be honest, dowsing is a completely occult pseudoscience. Those who believe in it try to draw conclusions with the help of radiations and energies about whatever topic they want to know about. The team apparently used this thing to find Rita. And look, I understand that the family accepted this technique, as they would turn the world upside down if they could to find her. But for an experienced private investigator who has a reputation in Hungary, to start an investigation with this thing, I really have nothing to say about it. I find it a little bit unprofessional. The team went out again in November, but they found nothing. According to the private investigative team, as Rita set off to hike, she met a man who was driving a light-colored rented vehicle. She got into the car and they drove off. We have no idea where the detectives got this information from. Around February-March 2014, a Hungarian politician recommended that the family contact a Vienna-based Hungarian lawyer. She was said to be able to help them. The lawyer was later appointed by the court as Rita's guardian in absentia, one of her responsibilities being to help the family obtain various documents from the Austrian police and the court. These official places also kept in touch with the family through the lawyer. In February 2014, there was a meeting in Vienna, and the police, a private investigator, the lawyer, and the family were there. This meeting was organized to discuss the case. May 2014. The sister contacted a second private detective. Referring to the private investigator, a man only mentioned as BI in this video, got in touch with the family. This BI is not a private investigator himself. Rita's sister wanted this BI and the first private detective to work together on the case. The first private investigator gave up on the investigation at the end of 2014, citing that Rita's sister was not willing to give the case completely into his hands, and that she was active in many other ways. What he meant by this was that the sister dared to explore other means of investigation and wanted him to work alongside someone else. The tragedy. In 2016, the family paid ransom money to BI because he alleged that someone had got in contact with him about the whereabouts of Rita. He promised that once the amount was paid, Rita would be able to go home for Christmas. Although the family was glad to pay this, nothing came of it. The same year, according to BI, someone called him from a Romanian phone number and threatened him not to investigate the case further. 2018. Later, BI was arrested. We do not know exactly for what crimes. The family also initiated legal proceedings against BI due to the ransom, which although paid, did not bear any fruit. In 2020, the Austrian investigators working on Rita's case declared that everything BI claimed about the case was a fabrication and cannot be supported with evidence. The family still hopes that at least something he said was true. I also have to mention something that happened in 2019. A local man was interviewed by the police. This person allegedly bragged that he was the only one who could find Rita. The detective searched the man's inn and its surroundings with cadaver dogs but found nothing, so the investigation was discontinued. You might ask who was the one who went to the police with this information. The waiter, who was Rita's neighbor, the one who last spoke to her on the day of her disappearance, was the one who told the police about this local man. I also have to mention that Rita had a few complaints about this waiter. According to her, he had been engaged in a few disturbing phone conversations, which Rita heard as he was on the balcony when these took place. The man posted a search request on his art website after Rita's disappearance. This raised quite a few eyebrows. 2022. At the beginning of 2022, the family contacted the court and requested documents, while at the same time filing a complaint against one of the persons handling the case. There was nothing significant in the answer received by officials, but shockingly, next to Rita's name, it was written that she was deceased, not missing. The court wrote back saying that it was an administrative error. And oh my god, what an embarrassing error that was. We have absolutely no idea what happened to Rita. Yes, she did mention she was going to take a hike, but since we never found any trace of her, we don't know that. She might have made it to her hiking destination and been a victim of a tragic accident, but just as well she could have met foul play either on the way there or on the hiking trail. This area, though deemed safe by many, is a holiday destination where thousands of people come to spend their holiday every year. Thousands of people who could be potential witnesses or perpetrators. Yet, we know nothing to this day. The most important thing to note is that no matter what happened, if she had been in an accident or was met with foul play, the family deserves to know what happened. Rita deserves to come home. Rita deserves to be saved. If you have any information about where Rita is or what happened to her, please contact the Austrian police. I'm gonna put every contact information in the description and in the comment section of this video. I want to thank Rita's sister for telling me Rita's whole story and helping me with the research. Also, thank you for everyone who's listening and is willing to help. This was the video for today. Have a great day and see you next time. Goodbye!